So after one of possibly the best Doctor Who episodes ever made last week, in my opinion, anyway, Rosa, we go into this week with an episode featuring giant spiders in Sheffield. There's a tiny spider on the desk right there, and I think he heard me say the S word, and now he wants to be my friend. So it's kind of a weird contrast to go from such a heartfelt and poignant episode with a real education feel to a kind of, I guess, Monster of the Week type episode. And so there's only so much you can really say about this kind of episode, because it's not like it's filler content, because you still learn stuff about characters, but it's definitely not as intriguing or captivating as last week's was. However, what I can say about this episode, which was called Arachnids in the UK, because simple and easily explainable episode titles are actually quite nice, compared to things like the God Complex and stuff that you get from previous series, and that just have a weird meaning. You have to look up what they mean and stuff. It's just a bit piss-takey. This one's very simple, and yet it was a good episode. And my honest opinion is that I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Because looking at this episode, obviously it just appears to be a filler episode, if you like, with just a kind of strange but not overall threatening story, and yeah, I enjoyed it. And the reason I enjoyed it was nothing to do with the story. It was just the characters that we're still being taught about and introduced to. I didn't really get anything out of the story itself. I mean, the spiders were cool, because I kind of like spiders, and I've seen a lot of people online saying how they really don't like spiders, so watching the episode was horrible for them, but I quite like them, so it was quite an interesting episode on that part. Villain, pretty two-dimensional, very much a caricature of Trump, big pro-gun American, going to be president after having lots of hotels, so it's obviously a limited villain, or antagonist, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a villain, I would say. Just a supporting, contrasting character. And so there was a lot of quite a bit of commentary in him. Just the fact he was a caricature of Trump, had a whole gun message, which obviously is like Doctor Who always mentions guns and the Doctor's always like, I hate guns. So that's fair enough. That having that gun bit in there is fine. But I guess some of the other stereotypically social commentary stuff was pretty obvious, and yet I didn't really care about that, and I cared about the characters we got introduced to and the characters that we have been brought along the journey with. So this episode we get to meet Yaz's family, and we don't see much of them. We only see much of her mum. And I love that the Doctor simply refuses to get the fact that she wants to be called by her name, and instead the Doctor's just going to call her Yaz's mum. And I hope that just continues. I hope that doesn't end, and it will just stick around like that forever. And maybe the Doctor's like that. Maybe she doesn't care about most people's names. She's just going to make up names for people or call them the simple name. I quite like that. We also met her sister, and saw that she immediately was kind of the stereotypical sister with her phone, with makeup on, flirting with the guy friend of the other sister. It's just that I feel that's kind of a stereotype in itself, or not a stereotype, but it's something you see a lot in film and TV. Obviously, I can't say that's a caricature of real life, because I don't really think that happens that much. That'd be very weird. But we met her. We met the dad, who seemed very just chill and innocent. I'd like to actually see more of the dad. He seemed just like a funny guy, and I wish we'd seen people's reactions to eating his food that he was going to make. That would have been really good. But on top of that, we also saw Graham return to the house for the first time, and we see we see his wife again, and that's really, really nice. That's something that I pretty much knew was going to happen, because when they announced, is it Shannon D. Clark is the actress? I can't remember. They announced her as a recurring actress like she was going to play a recurring part. So like I knew that she was going to come back in some way, shape, or form. But I think it's really cool that she's literally just going to be back for Graham and no one else, and it's just going to be an emotional pull. And that was the main pull of the episode for me, was seeing Graham and the few scenes that he had with her, and the fact that she's just like kind of driving him to go and do all this cool stuff, and it was really nice and it was really emotional, and I loved it. It was fantastic, and I really like the idea of having her just crop up in random situations in really weird places and just be his conscience. And I think that'd be really, really cool and interesting. We also saw Yaz come a bit into her own now, and she does seem a bit, I would say, not bitchy, but she does seem a bit controlling, I guess, because she's like a policewoman, or police officer, sorry. She wants to get things done, and it's quite nice, but she did seem a bit shouty at her mum, which is a shame. But at least she came to her own. She was like the second into the room behind the doctor all the time, and it's nice to see that she's quite a strong-willed character. She's driven, and I'd like to see more of her like character developed. Ryan, just as ever, is hilarious. He doesn't really try, and that's brilliant. There's a scene when they're in the lab looking at spiders, and in the background for like 30 seconds, all you can see is Ryan making hand shadow puppets. It's really good, and it just suits his character so well, and they don't draw attention to it. It's not even like after they've finished their conversation they look back and he's still doing it and they call him out on it. It's just there, and that's what this series has done really well recently, is just having stuff in there, and you don't need to comment on things to make them obvious, and that kind of slows your story down. You just want to have these little Easter eggs and stupid things that happen in the background and just keep them there, and it's been brilliant. Speaking of things in the background, again, I think, well, it's not really in the background, but the CGI in this episode I thought was great. I really, really liked the spiders. I felt they suited the mood and they looked appropriate. It was good CGI. When it came to the large spider, they used that minimally, so you didn't really see much of it, which is good, again, because obviously it's harder to do it on a larger scale than with the small one, where you can't really see every single hair on its body. So there's a scene where Ryan and Graham are running away from the big spider, and like it's again similar to the one in the second episode where they're running away from the spaceship. The fact that you've got the characters in front of the CGI means that you don't need to spend as much on the scene that's happening behind them, and yet it can still look really effective and look realistic. So when the crash ship smashed, when the spaceship crashed behind them, that it looked fantastic because they didn't draw attention to it. It was focusing on the characters' reactions to the situation. And the same happened with the spider. It looked really good that it was in the background, and that kind of thing I hope continues, because it's a really novel way of using CGI to your advantage. Quickly, the final thing I want to say is I really enjoyed the fact that they used Stormzy to draw out the spiders. That was very funny. However, I think it went on a bit too long. It's definitely the modern Who equivalent of in the first episode or the second episode of series 1 of the reboot, where they talked about having a classic Earth ballad or something, and they had Britney Spears' Toxic. It's the new version of that. But that was really funny, and it was very Doctor Who. It was just really silly and fun. So I'm happy. Music was great again. Really good musical episode. Not too much. It didn't really need to do much with music, to be honest. It was quite simple, and it was a simple story, so it didn't need to have all these complex like riffs and stuff. So it was good. And so yeah, that's my thoughts. I think it was a surprisingly good episode. So why don't you guys let me know what you thought in the description. Obviously, everyone's going to have their own opinion. I guarantee that some of my friends won't have enjoyed it, and probably because it's coming off the back of that Rosa episode, they probably expect more. And I can get that mind frame. But in my opinion, I think it was actually surprisingly good. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought. Do you agree with my opinions? Where do they differ? Leave a like if you enjoyed my opinions. Don't dislike the video, that's just mean. And subscribe if you want to see more of these. I have been doing them every single week so far. I also do a couple of videos on football stuff if you enjoy football, but you don't need to watch those. I also have a daily vlogging channel where I daily vlog, believe it or not. That's in the description of this video and in the description of all my videos, so go check them out. And I'll see you guys next week for the next episode. I can't remember the name of it. Something spacey. Not Kevin. Okay, I'll see you guys next week for the next episodes. Until then, stay safe, and bye-bye.